So welcome to the frequently asked questions about Twitter. So why Twitter? What makes Twitter special? Well, Twitter is special because it's open. You don't even have to be a Twitter member to see content on Twitter. If you want to talk on other social media platforms, usually you have to be connected, like in Facebook. You can send a message to somebody you're not friends with on Facebook, but it's kind of iffy if they will even see it because the message gets buried. With Twitter, you don't have to follow someone to send a message to them that they will see. As long as your accounts are public, these kind of back and forth communications are a normal part of Twitter. Twitter has unparalleled access to people. It can be used as a broadcast medium, but it's really conversational. It's kind of in the DNA of Twitter. People who are on Twitter are typically there because they want to converse. They want to have a conversation, and that's really exciting. How do I know who I should follow? Well, I would start with a search at the search bar on Twitter, or you could just go to search.twitter.com and type in the search terms that you're interested in. So think about things that you want to learn more about, experts that you would want to connect with, whatever the field, whatever industry you're looking at going into. Type that into the search field and find some initial people to follow, some experts in that particular area. Once you find someone who seems knowledgeable, they have a fairly large following, the tweets that they're putting out there seem to be informative and useful, follow them. But don't just stop at following them, then click in to see who they follow. So if someone's established themselves as knowledgeable, you might want to dig in to see who they're learning from and who they are interacting with as well. So it's important to click into their followers and see who's listed on there. You might see some names that you recognize, and you just kind of dig down in following other people who they're following. So how can I see only tweets that are related to our DigMe 406 class? Well, everyone in the DigMe 406 class should be using hashtag DigMe 406 on the tweets that they want our group to see. That way you can go to, again, that search.twitter.com and type in that hashtag DigMe 406 and it'll pull all of those up. Another way that you can see class-related tweets is I've made a list of all of the members of our class, and you can find that at twitter.com/billgx/lists/digme406, and then so that's got a list of all the members of our group, and you click that and you'll see all of their tweets, whether they've been tagged with the hashtag or not. How do you keep up with everything on Twitter? I don't want to follow too many people because I can't read everything. That's a common question. So one particular analogy that I like that's out there is to think of Twitter kind of like a stream or a river. You don't want to try to drink every drop that goes by. Just dip your cup in there and take a sip or a gulp or a chug. Whatever you feel is necessary in the moment. Don't feel like you're missing out if you don't read everything that's in your feed. It's impossible to do that once you get a certain number of followers. Don't feel guilty about that. Twitter is just kind of a source of continuous new ideas coming your way. And so if you just dip into that and make what you can of it, then you're doing Twitter right. What's the best way to use Twitter? Well, I would say the best way to use Twitter is to use it in a way that works for you. So if you're always on your phone, you might want to look into the mobile app. Or if you have a tablet or a laptop, then you may want to install an app on that or use the browser, either way. So I personally, when I have a tablet or a laptop or a computer, something with a bigger browser than just a small phone size screen, I like to use TweetDeck. So TweetDeck is like an add-on component of Twitter. If you go to tweetdeck.twitter.com, you can see it. And it allows a display of several columns of information. And it kind of breaks your Twitter down into different areas of interest. So you can set these columns up to follow lists, like what I mentioned earlier. I have a list for all of the group members, so you could make one column a list of all of their tweets. You can have it look at the hashtag DigMe406 hashtag, and all of the tweets that include that tag would be in there, or any other trending topic. You can put search terms in there if you just want to pay attention to that all the time and form columns of that. You can look at all of the tweets by any one individual Twitter username. So there's a variety of things. I encourage you to look at TweetDeck and explore and see what you can make that do. Another neat thing that you can do with TweetDeck is to schedule in advance some tweets. So you can actually set the day and time that you want a given tweet to go out. And so it's kind of fun to have pre-programmed content to go out at a given time. So what is a tweet exactly? Well, a tweet it's a post. It gets its name because it's a short piece of information. Originally, Twitter, when it came out, it was 140 characters long, and it was because that was what the cell phones of the time would allow in a text message, and so they designed Twitter around that limitation. And people got really creative with how much information they could express in just that short amount of text. They've since doubled it. Now it's 280 characters, which is you can say a lot in even that bit of information. But yeah, a tweet is it's a short piece of information that you post out onto Twitter. So what is a retweet? A retweet is it's a tweet that you like and you want others to see. Well, I guess you don't necessarily have to like it. You might hate it, but you want others to see somebody said this. Okay, so you retweet it. And you can find that it's usually a symbol with a circular arrow that goes around, or you can type RT in the front of your tweet, and that tells everyone that you're reposting a tweet that someone else shared. Who sees what I tweet? That's a good question. So normally people who follow you see your tweets. Okay, so if they click the follow button on you, then it's a way of subscribing to your tweets. And if you're tweeting and they're looking, they can see what you're putting out there. And that's the default behavior. That's if your account is set to public and their account set to public. So a way to be sure that someone sees a tweet, if you have something to say that you want to address to someone, then that's where we use the @ symbol. You @ them, and followed by their username, and that gets their attention. That actually sends an alert to them when you include their username with the @ symbol in front of it. What else happens when I @ someone? Well, if you begin a message with the @ symbol and somebody's name, then Twitter assumes that you intend that message for them primarily. So it doesn't show that particular tweet in all of your other followers' feeds. It doesn't mean it's not public. It's still public. It's out there. Others can see it. But when you begin a tweet with somebody's username like that, Twitter assumes it's for that person and sends it to them directly. Oh yeah, there's a way to get around that functionality. If you want to begin a message with someone's username, you at them, but you'd like others to see it as well. A common thing that I've seen to do is just type a period in front of the at, and then that way the first character is not the at symbol, and then everybody whose followers can see it. Okay. How often should I tweet? I think you should tweet as often as you like. The more you participate, the more you're going to get out of Twitter. Okay, you're going to be involved in more conversations. You're going to learn more because you're participating more. That being said, as far as my class goes, I don't have any specific guidelines. However, I noticed that since we're doing class conversations on Twitter, there's kind of a long span of time if you're doing your tweets on Sunday night and you're checking off your to-do list. Oh yeah, I have to post on Twitter, and then you're not really checking in or participating for a full week, and you come back to it a week later. Well, the conversations have moved on, and so you're just now getting those messages. You can resume those. It's kind of an awkward way of making conversation. That's not to suggest that I think you need to be on Twitter all the time. No, you can set it up so it can send you alerts, especially if you're using the mobile app and someone at you sends you a message directly to you. You can get those alerts and respond to them accordingly. But in general, I'd suggest multiple times a week. I'd like to see checking in and out 3 or 4 times a week, just so you can stay current with what's being discussed under the DigMe406 hashtag. What should I tweet on Twitter? Well, so we're in a social media class and we're using social media. Pay attention to what's in the news, what other people are talking about. You might discover some content that none of us else have seen yet. And so, yeah, if you read an article that's relevant and you think it's a good thing that others in the class would enjoy hearing about, tweet that out and put the hashtag, the DigMe406 with it, and we'll all see it. But yeah, you can use Twitter for whatever purpose you think is useful. Just keep in mind your audience. What is it you're trying to accomplish? I've done fun tweets. I do things that are just kidding, joking around. I also do very serious things. A lot of it has to do with the time of day or time of week, what I'm currently thinking about. But when you use Twitter regularly, then people get to know you better, and I think it's authentic if you use it in a regular way that really kind of reveals who you are. So, what are power-ups? Okay, I've gotten the question about power-ups. So power-ups are not officially part of Twitter at all. It's something that I kind of invented for our class just as a way of keeping score. And it's basically, I want to kind of have a way for us to measure our weekly activity on Twitter. So I came up with this idea of power-ups and had some specific suggestions in there and invite everybody to add to that. So, for example, some of the power-ups that I've done in the past, some of the really cool interactions that I've had on Twitter would be conversations I've had with book authors or politicians or supermodels. I've talked to a supermodel before on Twitter. or an actress, in anything that you might find interesting, your friends, family might find interesting, something that's noteworthy that happens on Twitter. Think of that as like in a video game where you powered up, you got more going on than you had before. It's like an achievement. And so I've got the list out there, and you're welcome to add to it. You can make up your own power-ups, especially if you see or do something that you think is really cool and noteworthy. But I also just recently discovered on the Twitter analytics portion of your profile that you can download a spreadsheet of weekly or monthly activity, and so I think on the power-ups assignment I will explain how that's done and how you can send me a spreadsheet, and then we can kind of compare notes quantitatively through actual numbers of your Twitter activity. So it's basically meant as a fun way to keep score as to who's done what, who's done something really cool, and just by being on Twitter.